I buy these all the time, the e7400. I just pick them up. I put them usually as a second drive in a laptop if they have two, just so that the person who gets it off me gets more storage for games. And they're such a good price. And they're fast and they're really reliable. They sent me over this one here. This is the e7400. I'm not sure the exact difference between them. They are actually a similar price. This one's a tiny bit more, obviously, but it's a tiny bit faster. 7,000 versus 7,400. I found that the 7,000 here was very reliable, so I hope this is the same. Anyways, they sent this one over to me here. I actually bought one too, so whatever. I'm gonna have two of them. Depends on your needs. So that's there. So they are single-sided, the 2 terabyte. The 4 terabytes of these are also single-sided, just so you know. I bought many 4 terabytes of these, and they're single-sided, which is nice. Sometimes 4 terabyte NVMe's are dual-sided, which means some laptops won't support them. The fact that this one here comes out as single-sided is key because you can put it in things like handhelds and laptops more readily. So let's see what controller we have on here. Oh, this is like the heatsink style sticker. This one has like a sticker on it. This one is actually like a little bit of a heatsink itself. You can see it's thicker. So it's not like a true, giant metal heatsink, but it does offer some thermal dissipation there, you can see. So this sticker actually does offer a little bit of heatsink and has a Maxio controller, same as that. And then the NAND chips, we'll have a look here. Oh, just pulled that. There's the graphite kind of stuff there. Pulled it right off. And sometimes when you use a knife, you go between them sometimes. So there's your little bit of heatsink right off the bat. Yep. So don't know what it is, but I found that they're good. The cache on them, on this one here, was really good. It actually would write for quite a while before it would run out of cache, so that's really nice there. Okay, so here's the drive here. It's empty. What we're going to do is we're going to run some Crystal Disk Mark and some Auto Benchmark and just kind of see how the performance is when the drive is empty to start here. And then what we'll do is we'll do some more real world transfers and see how they pan out. Okay, so here's the benchmark test when it's empty. So max speeds, basically as advertised, around 7,000, whatever. They never end up being exactly right, but it's about right. That's roughly what you'd get out of a basically max speed Gen 4. That's really getting close to as fast as that interface can possibly go. So that's good. No problems there whatsoever. I'm having no issues here so far. So now what we'll do is we'll do some real world transfers. So I have a USB 4 enclosure here with a bunch of video files on it. And I'll start moving them over to this drive here. It's never going to be the speed that, the max speed that synthetic can get. That's just, based on different file sizes. Certain files move faster, some move slower. But we'll start moving that over here. This is USB 4 capable device. So it is very fast, about 3,500 megabytes a second. I don't anticipate any drive's going to really write that fast. Like, yeah, that's faster than I thought. That's about as fast as I've seen internal drives write video files. So that's fine. So we're not having any issues here. So it is obviously going to write real world files quite fast. Again, that's about as fast as I can get. I could do 2 Gen 4 drives internal to a system from one to the other, and it would be the same. But what I'm curious about here is the cache size. So what happens is when you write on many different drives, some lower end drives, what happens is you're writing here, and that'll drop down. So you'll write, and then what happens is the drive will run out of cache, and this will absolutely tank. The write speeds will go down. Once they go down, sometimes they can go down to 0, and they'll get stuck there for quite some time. Minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you think, okay, I'm going to write this all the way across. It'll only take 11 minutes, but it often doesn't work that way because you'll come partway in, the cache will drop down, and all of a sudden you go from 1.5, 1.6 gigabytes a second down to 20 megabytes a second, 5 megabytes a second. So it can take hours when you're moving huge amounts of data. What we'll do is we'll pause the video, come back once this thing runs out, if it does. When it runs out, then we can basically see how much cache the thing has for a steady write session. Okay, and there we go. The cache just dropped down. You can see here, that was a lot. That was actually larger than I thought. So, this whole write section here, let's see how big that is, and we can actually figure that out. So that was 1.15 terabytes, the whole thing here. So then that's going to be about 550. Yeah, so that wrote about 400 gigabytes all the way across before the cache ran out. That's a lot. That is a very large cache on a drive. Now it's a 2 terabyte drive, so that means around a quarter, because you can see it's not actually 2 terabytes, 1.86. So around a quarter of this drive is cache, pure cache capable, meaning you can fill this drive from nothing right up to 1/4 being full in one go. That's a lot of data. That's a lot of data. And I'm not, again, that's not filling it up with games or something like that when you download, because they won't deplete the cache. They're not fast enough to deplete the cache. There's no game that I've ever heard of that downloads at 2 gigabytes a second. It just doesn't happen. But if you're moving huge amounts of data, video files in that, you'll be able to move, 300, 400 gigabytes of video files. You'll be able to move 300, 400 gigabytes of video files in one go before you run out. So that's fantastic. Very, very impressive. So let's fill the drive up, and then we'll get into some more benchmarks, see how it performs once it's relatively full, and then we can probably wrap it up. Okay, so here are the test results when the drive is very full. You can see 302 gigabytes free of 1.86. That's 85, 90%, something like that. So very full. And I reran the tests here, and it didn't make a difference. So that's the D drive there. So it has the same speed for reads and writes, whether it's full or whether it's not full. So that's fantastic. Now what we'll do is we will take some reads off of it. We'll just do some real world reads here. We'll just take this one, I guess. And we'll go like that. And I guess we'll just put it in here. Check some real world reads. Yeah, very fast. Yep, so extremely fast reads. That won't go down unless the other drive were to run out of cache or something. So that's totally fine. So that's very good. Now what I'll do is I will bring that back real quick and just double check the reads on it. Come back in here, we'll go like that, do some writes. And even though it's relatively full, the real world writes are totally fine, as you can see that there. So what we're seeing here is a drive that runs very well. We're not having any issues whatsoever with writes or reads when it's full. Some drives, most drives actually, once you start to get up to this level of full, 80, 90, 95% full, the reads will start to tank a little bit. Sometimes they stay up, but they usually do drop down a little bit. But what you really do see is that the writes will drop down a lot, actually. It'll really start to tank the writes. So I suppose we can actually wrap it up here. What do I think of the drive? It's not getting hot, not running super hot or anything like that. So it'll be suitable for, obviously a mini PC like that. In a desktop, it's going to run even cooler. You're going to have even more room. You're going to have actual airflow running over the SSD components and heat sinks. This, it's in the system with a little heatsink, but it's not getting massive amounts of airflow or anything. That makes me confident to have this one in a laptop as well. Laptops typically just don't have as much airflow, but we're not having heat issues here. The writes are good. Nice, long, sustained writes. No issues there. So nice big cache on this drive here. Very good. I like to see that. Orico's kind of nailing it with the cache sizes. And then even when it's full, we're not getting any real drop at all. Honestly, once it's completely full. So very, very good drive here. The performance is outstanding on this Orico drive here. So I'll put some links in the description down below. Check it out. I've been using a lot of Orico drives recently, externals and internals, and I've been very impressed with all of them.